So Ubisoft has released Hyper Scape, another Battle Royale, but this time I'm actually quite excited for it. I haven't really been excited for any Battle Royales. I was excited to give them a go, but none of them really kind of got me, really excited for a new game. This is the first one that I think genuinely excites me. I'll explain why in a bit. Law enforcement has arrested hundreds after compromising their encrypted chat system. So, to put that into a bit more context, basically law enforcement had to hack an encrypted chat system. Don't worry, it's not WhatsApp or anything, I'll get into more details. But they managed to arrest hundreds of criminals, and it's definitely a good thing. Luckey, the founder of Oculus, has a new startup that will build a virtual border wall. And Twitter engineers are replacing the martial safe programming terms in moves that are slowly but surely being made across the world, across the development industry to try and change some terms. All of these stories are from 1 hour ago at this time speaking. So this is down out to the world, and let's get started. Sorry about that. So today's first story is about Hyper Scape. Now this was literally just released. This was literally just announced about 23 minutes ago, and basically it's an all-new free-to-play Battle Royale shooter from the developer of The Division, Massive Entertainment. Massive Entertainment fall underneath Ubisoft, that's why it technically comes from Ubisoft. Now, it was leaked earlier this week, and in fact Ubisoft confirmed the leak by releasing a website based around the game. Now, it's very different though to what you will already know. So, mostly it's a fairly barren landscape and apocalyptic setting. If you played Fortnite before and you played kind of through seasons, you'll know that Fortnite has definitely tried to go the apocalypse route and then has actually kind of turned it back. Almost. I haven't really played recently, but they went apocalypse and then they kind of turned it back a little bit with the whole Rift saga. Now, this new Hyper Scape though is a massive departure from the usual landscapes. It's a futuristic styled game in a sprawling urban city. It's a lot faster and a lot more chaotic than what you'll be used to, or what you should be used to from other Battle Royales. Now, some people got to play an early technical test version, and this is kind of courtesy of The Verge. So according to The Verge, who is it? Nick Stat. Stat was paired up into a random squad with two others, and they were allowed to queue as many times as they liked during the 2-hour demo session. During their demo session. 3 hours demo session even. Now, according to him, Hyper Scape is a very fun game. It is a first-person shooter, not third-person, and is apparently extremely polished. As offering genuine innovations not seen in other Battle Royale games. So the first circle of any game transitions, the final circle, of any game transitions from a kill or be killed contest into a game of capture the flag. Teams try to either outgun their opponents or hold on to the coveted crown for 45 seconds. This is very different to what I know of any of them. However, this game could fall into a bad category of this if it doesn't prove its worth. Battle Royale fatigue is starting to fall into the community. Amazon Game Studios Hero Shooter Crucible, I never even heard of it until I read this article, but it fell flat after a month. But again, Ubisoft is very established, as we all know, and has a better track record. But one thing that's also going to be hard for it is not only pulling away players that are unconscious of hours into titles like Apex Legends or Fortnite, but also their current reckoning with complete sexual harassment. Now, the company has promised to address the issues and completely overhaul its internal culture. However, it's definitely a risky time for them to be launching new property. There is also a small amount of story, as I alluded to earlier. So this is basically set in the far future, where Prisma Dimensions oversees a realistic metaverse-style virtual world which is akin to the Oasis. It's called for Hyper Scape and features a competitive sport called Crown Rush, Now this is where players materialise in cyberspace and battle one another for chance to victory. Now this is what this game is actually. So Hyper Scape, Crown Rush is a game that you are supposedly playing within Hyper Scape. I don't know, this sounds like it's almost setting up, I'm just going to put it out there, if they're setting up to release a Oasis-like world built around this Hyper Scape game narrative, I could definitely get behind that. I mean, Ubisoft even published a fake website for Prisma Dimensions after the game leaked. Now, whilst it's not the best world building, it's something that you don't really get. Now, over the last 3 years, there have been so many of the last-person standard video games released, but lots of them have failed. But Ubisoft has supposedly been building this game for about 2 years. Now, while some like Warzone are big, lucrative, and very fun, games like Apex Legends and PUBG Mobile are quiet and laser focused on fundamentals. Fortnite, however, is responsible for kind of kicking off the Battle Royale trend, alongside the PC version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, PUBG. And it's actually still experimenting with what kind of game it can become. Now, speaking of Fortnite, it has actually left the early access program finally, and Epic Games originally said that they would be making Super Wild free when that happened. They've actually not done that, so, you know, I was going to talk about that, but then Hyper Scape became a thing, as like, yeah, but if you want to low down on Fortnite, basically, they're out of early access, but Saber Wild is not becoming free to play, and at the same time making free Saber Wild not free to play, we're also ramping down production on new features for Saber Wild. Now, Hyper Scape has lots of elements. The shrinking circle obviously puts people into a very specific area, but there's some very big innovations in it. So, for example, it will find an audience, and I would definitely see it pulling people away from Apex Legends and Warzone, quite possibly, from what I'm hearing of it anyway. Now, its biggest strengths are apparently the unique combat pacing and the in-game abilities. There's also some changes to the BR formula. So there's no weapon rarity or mod systems, no unique cure abilities or ultimate attacks, and no consumable health items or armor. Every player in Hyper Scape can use any weapon and upgrade it to its max potential by finding other versions out in the world. With the tap of a button, you then combine the two to create a more powerful gun. It's also true of abilities. So instead of relying on character traits, anyone can find these abilities as loot. You can have two equipped at a time. One, it can include healing ability. One also lets you put up a wall for cover. One in case of your character in a protected wall, so bounce away to safety. And it drastically changes the way that Battle Royale is played. So, for example, things like healing items in games like Apex Legends and Warzone dictate how easy it is to recover and re-engage. But in Hyper Scape, you can engage in multi-team fights that last for huge swaths of the entire match through a mix of sheer luck, smart ability use, and switching between hiding in buildings and maneuvering around the rooftops. It's also fairly easy to find a building to duck inside of. Also put up a wall for cover, as I just alluded to. And if you really need to heal, then drop a healing while on the ground to recover. You can also find yourself battling as many as 6 to 9 other people out of nowhere, so chaos can come out of at any moment. Now, another thing that helps rein in the messiness is extreme level of mobility. There is no fall damage in Hyper Scape, and every rooftop is reversible. There is also a fast slide and double jump at your disposal. Now, there are circles of light on nearly every street corner or large open area that launch you high into the air to help you move from the ground to the rooftops with ease. The result of all these combat systems is a kind of VR Battle Royale combat unlike anything played before. It has a drawn-out ability of a match of Overwatch with the speed and unadulterated zaniness of the best Apex Legends and Warzone fights. And on top of that, you're spending half the match flying through the air. So, I definitely sounds exciting, and I'm definitely going to be giving it a go. Now, when you die, you're not knocked out, there's no downing and reviving systems, instead you become kind of spectator of the battlefield. You can move around and observe what's happening just as if you're alive, but only your teammates can see you and cannot fire a weapon. So your goal in that state is to scout for currently alive teammates and find a respawn point you can use. So this is actually quite important. The reviving system is very different to others. Now, reviving was not actually originally in Fortnite or PUBG. It actually originally came with Apex Legends, and Fortnite decided, you know what, lots of people like this feature, let's give people what they want. And this is simply how it's staple for Battle Royale. Not in PUBG, as far as I'm aware, but definitely in others. Now, so basically, to activate the process of respawning, you have to queue up, and your teammate has to activate the process, but they also risk their own life. So it's designed to keep players active in matches even when they might lose their first or second fight early on. Now, as the circle closes in, players don't experience the normal poison gases you might expect, but instead starts to become transparent. Buildings become see-through until you actually run through the walls, and eventually you start taking damage over time. So you don't have to deal with this with obstructing objects, as you can just run through the buildings. But it's also really easy to see opponents and for them to see you as you're rushing to get inside. Now, as I said, I believe I already said this earlier, but when the final circle closes, the game transforms into a capture the flag contest, with a titular item in Crown Rush descending from the sky and showing up on the map. If you hold it for 45 seconds, you win, but every other team can see where you are on the map. So it's definitely hard. Now, apparently in this portion, Hyper Scape becomes almost a completely different game and involves a high level of strategy. As for other things, Ubisoft and Massive are working on Twitch integration, so viewers can decide random map events like low gravity and unlimited ammo that will occur for short periods of time. The same integration will also let streamers instantly queue up for matches with viewers at pressing the button. Now, apparently from playing the game for just a few hours, a whole lot of thought has gone into the making, as it's much more later than the intent to cash in on the trend, but its biggest sign of success will be how fast it grows. Apex Legends is Ubisoft's primary competitor, not Fortnite, and it grew tens of millions of players after a single week. Ubisoft is not just focusing on PC but also console, and it all depends on whether Hyper Scape is going to appear very good. So, I'm personally looking forward to giving this a go. I really want to just download this game and play it. There's not really many games that get me this, especially like Battle Royale games, I should say, that get me this excited for a launch. I was quite excited at launch of Fortnite, and I did play. I think I played a little bit of Season 1, but I've more got into it during Season 2. So, and this one is more my kind of style though. See, whilst I like the old one, they've been quite slow paced. And yeah, when you get into a fight, it lasts a short amount of time. It's all about who shoots first. With Hyper Scape, it sounds like you got a bit more of a chance, apart from just who shoots first. Because it's about who can collect better weapons and combine them together, not just about that. And as for your character, you don't get locked behind abilities. So I'm just hoping it goes well, and if this game is as good as it sounds, then I will definitely be playing it. Now, I do quickly want to talk about something what WhatsApp are doing. Now, WhatsApp, I think I may have already mentioned this, but I just want to let people know quickly. WhatsApp are now using QR codes to allow as contacts. When this is officially released and I can get access to it, I am going to just give it a quick test because I want to know about the way that this works. Whether the URL, for example, is one that will link your phone number and your contact information, or whether it's a more secure one. Because as you may remember that a while ago, I reported a vulnerability within WhatsApp itself that allows people to get your phone number if you use a specific feature. So I want to make sure that that's not what's happening with this QR code system. Now I'm sure WhatsApp will be taking steps, and that was also partly due to the way that Google was indexing the websites. But the fact is, these are still websites and they can still be indexed. So Google and WhatsApp are going to have to either exclude the domain themselves, or they're going to have to do or they can just encrypt it. But, I don't want to let people know to be careful. And I figured it was definitely important about letting you know about encrypted chat systems, because law enforcement have made hundreds of arrests after compromising one. That's where that's going. So this is nothing to do with WhatsApp or iMessage or anything that's got encrypted chat in it. Instead, this is about EncroChat. Now, 746 arrests have been made in the UK alone, after the National Crime Agency intercepted millions of encrypted text messages around organised crime groups. They're set through EncroChat. It's a subscription-based phone system popular among career criminals. And this has apparently had the biggest impact on organised crime gangs it has ever seen. Now, European law enforcement agencies have apparently been monitoring these conversations for months. French police were first to hack the network, deploying a technical device to penetrate EncroChat, after discovering cells were hosted in the country. Authorities cracked EncroChat's encryption code in March and began receiving data in April. Now, these conversations were supposedly thought to be secure and private, whilst the cops were accessing them. So, people were talking about a variety of crimes, including drug operations and money laundering schemes. Now, just think about this for a second. You've got these high criminals that are committing big felonies, and you can get access to their conversations. That would be massive. Now, EncroChat sold customized Android handsets with GPS camera and microphone functionality removed. They were also loaded with encrypted messaging apps as well as a secure secondary operating system. Now, as for what the services are, we don't know, but anonymous sources told Motherboard that it is widely used among criminal groups. Things like drug trafficking, cartels, gangs, as well as hitmen and assassins. So it definitely gives to know that it's been breached and that these things can now be watched. Now, EncroChat became aware of the breach in May after users noticed white function wasn't working. EncroChat cut its SIM service and shut down the network shortly after, and advised customers to dispose of their devices. Police have also warned that more arrests will be coming. The criminal world is apparently in complete disarray. Some users throwing away their phones, some going completely offline, and others even attempting to flee countries. So this is probably one of the most significant things known. And I, for one, am definitely glad that this sort of thing has happened, as I would imagine most people will be. So that's that story, and to be honest, it just shows to go that even some of the most secure communication servers that people might not even know about can be hacked. Let's go on to another thing related to cybersecurity, which is Luckey startup building a virtual border wall. Now, this is a fairly long article, but I can basically shorten it down into a few words. So, basically, the towers are placed around the border of the United States. So, they'll be placed around the border. They'll have 2 solar panels on the ground, and then an array of cameras and sensors up top. Now, these were originally started development 3 years ago, and it's basically an AI system. And according to the Washington Post, the Trump administration has awarded a 5-year contract to run hundreds of AI-powered surveillance helmets along the US-Mexico border by 2022. Now, this is good for them as it allows them to get a leg up against criminal networks facilitating illegal cross-border activity. So, it can't be used to know information, personal information or personal data. It can only detect whether it's a person, a cow, a vehicle, an aircraft, or ship. Something on a basic level. It can't detect facial recognition. Now, this is very different. He's a former Oculus chief, and he suddenly moved to defense technology. And he did this in a very significant amount of speed. And Dural Industries was founded in 2017, mere months after being forced out of Facebook due to backlash from a $10,000 donation he made to a pro-Trump political group. Just over a year later, Dural was on the ground on a ranch in Texas, testing a cluster of 4 lattice power surveillance towers. So that's amazing. Now the AI, during a 10-week period, and during that 10 weeks, people reported that the AI had helped customs agents apprehend 55 people to cross the border illegally. And not long after, the US Customs and Border Protection secured an additional 56 towers. 3 years since launch, Dural landed a government deal estimated for post-pegs at hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, the government didn't just get cash to grow from the federal government either. It just closed $200 million of Series C funding round. So it's largely based on the promise of becoming a full-blown defense contractor. So this is amazing. Now, we're not sure whether this means, but we're saying, as far as we're aware, this doesn't mean that the physical barriers will be going away soon. In fact, the President's border wall had grown by about 50 miles at the end of February, whilst much of the country grapples with updates in COVID-19 infections and questions over reopening. Now, here in the UK, there is some good news. Theme parks are starting to reopen, leisure facilities are reopening, lots of things are reopening here in the UK. So there is hope that things are going to start reopening. But I'm just saying that actually brings a massive smile to my face because it's a place I never thought we'd get to. But aside from COVID, this definitely seems like it's a way to see that from being thrown out of the company, Palmer Luckey has now completely turned that around just from it within 5 years. And that's quite a feat. And he is helping to stop illegal activity, and I think that's definitely a good thing. So, and the way that the AI is designed currently has limits as well. It's even better because one scary thing about AI, especially for me and for a lot of people, is the fact that it could identify you personally, track you everywhere you go. And then if a hacker got access to that information, it would be scary if a hacker had all of that information on you. So it's definitely good to know that these sorts of things are being limited in what they can actually access. Now, our final story today is about Twitter and the growing programming community. So according to Twitter, Twitter engineers have worked since January on an internal effort to replace commonplace programming language like master and slave. Now, this is being reported by CNET as a large effort among open source developers to remove these references to slavery. Now, GitHub also made a move last month to replace the term master with more neutral language. Now, not only are they changing slave, master, and blacklist, but they're also going a step that engineering teams at Twitter are recommending going a step further. So they're possibly going to change man hours to person hours to get rid of any sexism. Blacklist will be going to deny list, get rid of racism. And as for ageist, they're going to, or I know, but for another one, I don't know what this one would be seen as, sorry. But I think this one might be ageless. I do not quote me on that. But we're changing it from grandfather to legacy status. Now, the company has supported the push for more thoughtful language. Start quote. The work the team did here will inform a larger work stream underway to guide our language to be more inclusive and more human as a company. End quote. I personally am definitely glad that this sort of thing is happening, and I am looking forward to see the programming community really kind of step up in this way. As I said, Ubisoft is still currently battling multiple sexual harassment claims, and these sorts of terms that should never have been used in the first place. I understand why they were, in a way it doesn't work, but I still believe that there were other ways we could have done it. For example, we could just have main branch and then a sub branch. Literally the easiest way to do it in my opinion. But whilst I'm a developer, I don't know what to use for these programming terms. As I'm not on that side, I'm on front end program, but I'm on the actual program side. And speaking of programs, we have 4 minutes left to record for today. So I figured I'd talk about Rollable. Yeah, that is the current name for my game. That name will be changing. But basically, my game, and I'm so glad to be able to finally announce this, should be coming out in 2021 at some point. Now, a beta may come out later this year, however, as we are guessing fairly far along, but we don't want to release until 2021 to make sure that we can iron out a lot of problems. Now, Rollable is going to be a puzzle game. So, originally Rollable was released 2 years ago, and the idea was not actually for it to be an alpha, but it turned into an alpha. So that game was basic puzzles released, and that is what will be re-released on Android and iOS, except with a much nicer look and a much nicer way to go around that. As for the console and PC editions, there will be that same demo version available to you. However, we will also be bringing in a more story-like element to the game. So, if you're someone who doesn't have the best graphical fidelity, but you want to kind of get into the game, because you might go further on, and all you've got is a PC, you'll just get the demo version, have a go at that, and then maybe when you upgrade your computer, go to high graphical fidelity, and get the full version. Now, the way that this is going to work is the demo version will not have microtransactions. I am going to say that now. No microtransactions in the demo version. Everything in the demo version will be earnable in-game only, and it will not be a grind either. As for the full game, I have not decided yet. That's the hardest to decide. Now, the version that I said was an alpha 2 years ago will be being re-released by the end of the year, regardless of where we are with the full game, as that is much simpler to work on and actually lays groundwork for future levels in the main game. So that will be released hopefully on all platforms by the end of the year under the name Rollable, which will be changed hopefully before I actually release it. So that's all I have to say on my game today, but I am super excited to bring you the first installment, and I have been working on this for a while. So, this is down at Digital World. Ubisoft has a new game, Hyper Scape. I will be doing a review on that game. Law enforcement arrests hundreds after compromising I forget what name it is. After compromising EncroChat. Luckey is building a virtual border wall, and Twitter and multiple open source engineers are replacing some master and slave. My name is Luke, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode. Also, 29 minutes and 30 seconds. We're literally about to be cut off from the recording time. See you in tomorrow's episode, everyone.